So as I've gotten older and learned more about life, one of the things that I've noticed is the insane amount of toxic masculinity that there is nowadays. You know, you got people like, big instance, Andrew Tate. And, you know, there's some things that I can agree on, like working hard, stop using excuses, you know, go after what it is that you want, things like that. But a lot of it I've found is a lot of just negative self-talk, a lot of beating you down and telling you to stuff your feelings down, and you know, you need to, in order to be happy, you need to have endless women want you and endless money and cars and fame in order to be a main character. And, you know, that's really just not the truth of what it means to be successful or, for any instance, happy. You know, it's become pretty clear through social media that people are really digging into young men's insecurities and are using it to exploit them for profit and for fame. And I'm just really sick and tired of it. You know, I think a lot of people are. I think people are, well, some people at least are finally seeing through it, that all these course sellers and these people online really don't have your best interest at heart. And it's just insane. I feel like I've been lied to. You know, I'm 26 years old now, but, you know, a few years ago even, when I was listening to all that crap, I really believed a lot of it. And I thought the only way to have a successful life was by having women want me and to have billions of dollars, you know, unlimited wealth and a huge mansion and all the cars I want. It really just isn't true. Do I have all those things to compare it? No, I don't at all. But I've grown up in experience with life because I'm actually happy now. You know, and I don't have that much more than what I did a few years ago. You know, after I got out of college, I got a decent job, and I've been doing that job, and not a lot has changed. And, you know, today I've found that I'm a lot happier, and I didn't need all the bullshit that everyone online was telling me I needed, you know, that there's this specific routine that I have to follow in order to become successful, or, you know, I need to be just like whatever this coach or influencer is saying. I need to do it exactly like that in order to be happy, or to become a masculine man, or have women want me and have the confidence, you know, confidence where I could just do whatever anytime and have no fear. And, you know, it's just, I really didn't need any of that. You know, at the end of the day, I'm a product, is what they think I am. And that's what they think you are as well. And it's not true. It's all lies. Men are insecure. Everyone's insecure about something, especially young men. I mean, in today's world, we have a lot of standards that we're expected to live up to, and, you know, we have to figure out our own way, and we're expected to provide and, you know, get a good job and, you know, be a leader, you know, have a family, do all this stuff. And it's a lot of pressure. It is. And it especially for a young man who doesn't know what he wants to do with his life, which is most people, because no one really knows what they want to do at 20. Some people do, but not everyone, and it's daunting. And, you know, we try to cope with it by doing drugs, or, you know, chasing women, or, you know, just avoiding everything and isolating and eating too much food or not eating enough food, or, you know, looking in the mirror all day, pointing out your own flaws. You know, it's like all these insecurities that we have, you know, it's really easy to exploit because there's a lot of pressure on us. There's a lot of pressure to be the best person you can be, which you should strive to do, but it's not going to come without some failures and with some digging. You got to try new things, and you got to stumble. You got to fall. And that's the part of life where they don't tell you, people online tell you if you do it this way, you'll be all right, or, just be like me. Be like me, make all the money, sell a course like me or whatever. That's the other thing too. There's a whole bunch of shit online where it's all it is the quick get rich quick scheme, But anyone who actually is amounted to wealth or power, status, they didn't do it by following the quickest, easiest route. They spent a long time working hard at their craft and developing it and taking chances. And I think everyone nowadays just whatever they can do as quickly as possible. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be fucking lying, scamming, selling bullshit, fake products, drop shipping, selling courses, all that crap, And they tell you that you'll get rich easily and quickly. You just got to follow these simple steps. But it's all a fucking lie. And a lot of this coaching stuff is really just, it's a pyramid scheme, right? Because they don't really know what they're doing. All these people are coaching you on how to be a coach. They're not actually coaching you on how to do the things that the topic is related to, like working out, self-improvement, drop shipping, like all these courses. It's teaching you how to teach others. So it's like they teach you how to teach others, so then you can teach others how to teach others, instead of anyone ever actually fucking coaching whatever the fuck it is that the problem is, or whatever your niche is. It's just repetitive, and it's bullshit, and it's just so much lies and deceit for everyone. And I just can't believe it's been going on for this long. Everyone is just going for attention, because that's where the money is, right? It's attention. But it doesn't make sense. Like, at some point, it's got to flip. It's got to flip from attention to intention, right? To people who actually care about you, people who actually want to see you succeed, who, don't have all the answers, but will tell you that, but will tell you also how they figured out what they figured out, who are real with you. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm just fucking sick of it. I really am. And I don't have everything in my life figured out, but I figured out a lot by living life and by making a lot of dumb fucking decisions. From being overweight to suicide to almost killing people, almost being put in jail. Like, I had to go through a lot of stuff, but that's what it took for me. It doesn't have to be that way for everyone, but nothing is going to teach you better than life. But you have to, live life. Maybe not the way I did it, but there's no better teacher than experience. You're not going to get that $10,000 a month fucking online course and have it all work out. It's just not the reality of life. Now, is every course bullshit? No, definitely not. There are people who care, but you have to look for them. And unfortunately, they're not the people who are getting the most attention. It's the people who are the loudest, who are making the craziest claims, to shock you or whatever. Right? They tell you, like, for Instagram reels, like, say a very controversial thing, even if you don't mean it or whatever, at the beginning to hook you, because, it's just absurd. It's all about attention, right? Friction, saying something crazy, doing something dumb, whatever it is, man. It's just attention, because people's attention are really valuable. But it's really getting hard to grasp people's attention because, for one, everyone's dopamine and attention span is fried, mine partially included. And everyone has ADHD, because we're scrolling through freaking videos constantly. And the other thing, it's because a lot of it's just bullshit. People don't want to pay attention to the fake stuff anymore. A lot of people are feeling like they're being just fed lies all the time, whether it's from people online or government. Like, everything is just filled with lies. But that doesn't mean that you should give up hope, right? Because there's always evil and there's always been wickedness in the world. They just really have their teeth sinked in to younger people. They really do. But I think there's a way to fight back with that, and that's by giving the people who actually care a fair shot. I'm not talking about me specifically. I'm just saying people with intention. Stop giving all these crazy people the attention that they don't deserve. Like a weird instance that popped my mind, like the Island Boys. Like, no one even thinks about them anymore, right? But at one point, everyone was talking about the Island Boys for a brief time. Like, who actually gives a fuck? Like, they're not doing anything with their lives. They're not doing anything useful to society or to help you. They're just out there for attention. Like a lot of streamers too. They're just, I don't understand streaming at all, to be honest. How people can just watch someone else's life all the time and give money. If you like it, it's fine. I mean, I just don't get it at all. Instead of just living your own life. And it's like, are they really helping you? Like, it just makes no sense to me. I think people are just really lost. And it's really hard to figure out who's real and who's fake, because people have mastered the art of deception, and you raise a generation of people who become very resentful and mistrusting because of that, and people who are lost and confused, and that's what's happening. And it doesn't have to be that way. Hopefully in 10 years we can look back as this weird era, 2020 to 25, whatever, is just a weird blip in time of scamming and fake crap and dopamine hits. But it could always just keep getting worse until it's too much. But the one thing I would say that would really help is to find actual community. A lot of us are divided and like to shit talk each other online about random opinions and like to act smart when really most of us don't know anything about anything. And that's okay. I know a little bit about some things, but everyone likes to act like they know everything about everything, that their opinion is right, everyone else is wrong or is an idiot or whatever. What you really need to find is a community of people who actually care about you, not people who are snakes and want to help you but really get ahead of you. I'm talking about a group of people who actually give a fuck and will hold you accountable. And that's something that's really rare. Like, I've moved recently to Florida, and it's hard finding that. A lot of young people. I don't drink or smoke anymore. I used to, but it's hard to find. You got to look. They're out there, but it takes time and it's hard because people, especially down here, people are very standoffish. Like, what do you want from me? It's like, I don't want anything. I just want to meet you, maybe connect. Figure this life shit out together, and I feel like we don't have enough of that. We need that because we're stronger together in numbers, right? That's how it used to be. In tribes and groups, towns, people actually got together and were together instead of alone and isolated on their phones or so self-absorbed with their own lives. They can't stand to think about what other people are going through because they got enough going on. But I tell you, having humility, meaning thinking about others more than about yourself, and giving a hand to others is really, it's a great way to find happiness, and it's a great way to become better as a person, because it holds yourself accountable as well. I'd say find brotherhood, and you can find it here. Thanks for listening.